How you doing tonight? Fantasy Philosophy back for you today. We got a new guest today, as you can see. It's our boy Kev. He's a great guy, knows a lot about fantasy football, and he's actually won twice in our league.
2 times.
What's your secret, man?
I don't have one. I just go with my gut, and I'm just a man, so I win.
There you have it. Easy as that. I mean, we can't really give you advice. Like, you can't teach it, right, Kev?
You can't teach it. I say it all the time. It's got to be in your gut. You either have it or you don't.
Exactly. So me and Kev, we always like to hang out at the draft, have some beers, chill, have a good time. And, obviously we're in the middle of the season now, so it's tough to continue to draft. You might want to try DFS, but even then you can't draft. You got to play the budget game. You got to pick the players. But there's actually this new app called Draft. You go on there, you draft a team, and it's just like draft day. You hang out with your boys, have a draft, and you do it week in and week out. So we definitely recommend it. We have fun playing it. Definitely check it out. Go to draft.com/fanphil and try it out today. All right, guys, so we're here looking ahead to Sunday's matchups. Should be a pretty good week, hopefully better than last week. 3 shutouts last week. Honestly, last week was pretty boring, sitting around watching TV. I was over it. So hopefully this week's a little bit better. So we're going to do a little looking ahead for you. And obviously, Halloween's coming up. So we got our pumpkin here, this guy. And we're going to pick some matchups out of a hat. So Kev, if you want to take one out of there to start us off. We're going to go through the matchups, give you some key points, key players to look for. And, hopefully we can help you out with your matchups this week.
All right, matchup 1, we got Vikings at Browns in London. It's a Sunday morning game.
Right, Sunday morning. So make sure you check your lineups. You want to make sure it's at 9:30 a.m. So the Vikings lead the Browns 10-4 all time. Vikings won the last 4 out of 5, obviously because the Browns have been terrible. But is this the year that the Browns take one? Kev, what do you think?
I'm saying DeShone Kizer, this is his day. No. let me give you some stats here. I don't mean to be Anthony Giambroni, but let me read you some stats that opposing defenses have put up against the Browns.
Okay, let's hear it.
13, 23, 15, 19, 9, and 6. They're playing one of the best secondaries in the league. The Vikings have let up 20 points to another team just once. I don't think it's even going to be close. I'm starting the Vikings D. They're actually projecting 15 points this week. It's going to be a silly matchup, I think.
Wow. I mean, I definitely agree. I think it's going to be a crazy matchup. But, Pete, what do you think about Minnesota's offense as opposed to their defense?
Latavius had that big game, and I think you should lower your expectations this week. You look at the Browns and you think, Browns defense, he's going to run all over them.
Right.
But that's not really the case. The Browns have been pretty well this year. So I think McKinnon gets the roll back. And I would like him. And we got Diggs coming back off the injury. I expect big things from him and even Adam Thielen. But, he doesn't get in the end zone. But
right.
Expect Diggs to.
Okay. And, Mike, I know you're an owner of Stephon Diggs. What are your expectations for him this week coming back?
I'm actually not expecting too much from him.
Okay.
Especially if they get the lead early. There's no reason to keep him in the game and force him to maybe get re-injured. I would say if they get an early lead, they're probably going to sit him for at least the second half. So
yeah.
I am going to be playing him in my flex just because it's Stephon Diggs and you can't risk not playing him because he's such a big name. But I wouldn't rely too heavily on him. If I had a better option, I would play him. So it's really something you got to look into deeply. But last resort, I would play Stephon Diggs, but I wouldn't rely on it.
Okay. Speaking about other options, Kev, if you had other options this week, would you even think about playing Isaiah Crowell?
Against that Vikings D, probably not. They're going to be down. They're going to be throwing the ball. You can't play him. Duke Johnson is the back to go with. The passing down back, you play him.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Minnesota only giving up 76 yards on the ground against them. So
right,
especially with a Crowell who's been very slow and hasn't been able to get going, I wouldn't play.
Right. All right, Kev, you want to grab another one for us? Yeah, so remember to set your lineup for that 9:30 game in the morning. Make sure you don't sleep in. All right, it's an important game. You want to get your Vikings in there. So definitely keep an eye on it. Kev, what's our next matchup?
Here we go. Matchup number 2. We got Broncos at Chiefs.
All right, Broncos at Chiefs. Obviously, the Monday night game.
I actually think the Broncos are home. It's Chiefs at Broncos.
Chiefs at Broncos. Okay, we must have had a little technical error there.
No, it's Broncos at Chiefs.
Okay,
yeah.
Broncos at Chiefs.
I'm the technical error.
So this is our technical error for the day. All right. So, we got Trevor Siemian coming off a couple bad starts. That offense as a whole really just looks very, very bad. Not what we're used to from that Broncos front. They had a great, start to the season. C.J. Anderson looked good. DT looked good. Emmanuel Sanders looked good. But now they play that tough Kansas City defense. Marcus Peters and those boys. So
I wouldn't call Kansas City a tough defense anymore.
all right, what do you think?
Well, obviously that offense has been struggling in Denver, but I think they get it going. Kansas City ranking under 25 in both categories against the pass and the rush. So expect Simeon, not too much from him, but expect a bounce back from him. And I think DT has a good game, and I think C.J. Anderson gets going again. So I like their offense.
Okay, and obviously Broncos are a top rush defense,
Yeah.
and now you have one of the top rushers in the NFL in Kareem Hunt going against that defense. So Kev, we're all in the league together, and we all, hate on Kev that he stole Kareem Hunt and that he had an intuition that he knew that Kareem Hunt was going to be the guy. So, Kev, what do you expect out of him this week?
All right, let me just say this. 2 weeks ago, the Giants went into Denver. Winless Giants went into Denver. They're going to get destroyed. Eli has no weapons. Odell's gone. Marshall's gone. Orleans Darkwa, 117 rush yards against a no-fly zone. Then the Denver Broncos play the Chargers. Phillip Rivers lights them up. I'm projecting a big game for Kareem Hunt. The Denver Broncos are struggling. Kareem's going to go off, I think.
Right.
And I'm not just saying that because I'm an owner. I truly think he's going to have a good game.
Okay. All right. And, Mike, what do you think about this game?
I think the Broncos are going to take this one. I've never really been a big fan of Alex Smith. I think he's a solid quarterback, but he's certainly not elite, and he's not somebody that can carry a team for a whole season.
Yeah.
I think he comes back down to earth.
Okay.
I think the Broncos are going to get Jamal Charles more heavily involved.
Right.
He's going to stretch the field. Simeon, I think he's going to do a little bit better in this game. The Broncos secondary it's too good.
Yeah.
It's too good for Alex Smith to do what he's been doing against them. I think the Broncos take this one by pretty decent amount. I'd say at least by 2 touchdowns.
Okay. And, we in our last video, we did some bold predictions. You predicted Jamal Charles to rush C.J. Anderson. Do you still believe that?
Yes.
Still believe that. All right. So
I'm actually with Mike on that. Sorry, I interrupted Pete.
I just wanted to say, with that Broncos defense, defense, expect a lot of field goals from Harrison Butker, the Chiefs kicker.
That's right.
Wow, we just talked about a kicker on the show. Wow, that's more than we ever need to talk about a kicker. You want to
Pick
grab
him
another?
up if he's a free agent.
Let's go.
Another
Matchup
one.
number 3.
Remember, guys, 6 teams on a bye this week, so not too many options. You might have to go with someone who you're regularly playing. So that's why this week is very important for fantasy.
All right, matchup number 3. Falcons at the New York Jets.
All right.
Ooh, good one.
Good matchup. Falcons on a 3-game losing streak. Jets going down against Matt Moore in Miami last week. And, maybe that was a fluke because they got shut out 40-0 last night. Falcons 0-3 against AFC East team this season. Mike, are the Falcons going 0-4 against the AFC East this year?
I don't believe they're going to lose this game. I think it's actually going to be a lot closer than people think.
Okay.
The offense is definitely struggling. It might be because Kyle Shanahan isn't there anymore. But there's just too much talent there for them to keep going down. They're going to start using the running backs a lot more. They're going to have to start using Julio Jones. The Jets aren't somebody that could beat a team that was just in the Super Bowl last year. I would definitely go with the Falcons in this one. But the Jets, I think they have some good running back talent there. And if they get their running backs involved, they could stay in this game for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Pete, you agree with that? You disagree? Who do you think?
As I said in our last podcast, those running backs for Atlanta are going to go off. And I do like Forte. I would get him in, especially PPR. He's been their guy to go to. But, that backfield is pretty much a 3-headed monster. But I think both offenses get going because both defenses have just been terrible. Yeah. And the Falcons will have a bounce-back game, and I expect them to win, but not by a lot.
Kev, you got anything to add here?
I'm with Mike and Pete, man. I mean, the Jets are a good young team. They got a good squad. They got some talent, but at the end of the day, it's going to be too much Atlanta offense. You got Matt Ryan and the boys, Julio, Devontae. They just can't contain all of them.
In this week, obviously, not everyone has their quarterback. If you're streaming a quarterback, would you consider Josh McCown?
I would. The way the Falcons defense has been looking, and McCown's not a bad quarterback, to be honest. I mean, he airs it out. He'll make some mistakes, but
just has to stay healthy.
Exactly.
Right. You want to grab another matchup there? I mean, for me, I think McCown is kind of reminds me of Fitzmagic a couple years ago. he's that guy who he's not going to do too much, but he'll keep you in the
He'll be
game.
average.
He'll be average enough to win you some games. Maybe go 8-8, maybe 9-7. All right, who do we got next there, Kev?
Next matchup. This is a good one. We got Texans and Seahawks.
All right, great matchup here. Obviously, we have a great defense in Seattle, but that great offense in Houston.
Yes.
Two of the prominent teams in the league going at it. It's gonna be a great one to watch. I think this is one of my favorite games of the week. What do you guys think of it this week?
I think this is the week that Deshaun Watson comes back down to earth. I think the Seattle defense is going to overwhelm them. Seattle's at home, so they got to deal with the 12th man. He's going to crumble. He's going to panic. It's not even going to be a close game. He's going to get absolutely destroyed.
Yeah.
Who knows what DeAndre Hopkins is going to do? Is he going to play? We know this whole thing with the owner. I don't want to get too far into that. I'm not a politics guy, but if he plays good, if he doesn't, that just kills the team. But either way, I don't see the Texans being too close in this game.
I definitely disagree. For me, it's can the Seahawks contain Deshaun Watson? They got D-Hop, they got Will Fuller.
Yeah.
The secondary is great. They're going to be on those guys. But can the guys up front, the linebackers, Sheldon Richardson and the boys, can they contain him? Watson's going to get in trouble. He's going to roll out. He's a great quarterback. And I think he's going to find ways to make plays, maybe run for some first downs and air it out. And I think at the end of the day, the Houston Texans are going to win a tight one in Seattle.
Okay. And Pete, I know you're a big Will Fuller guy. It's a tough matchup for him. And you also have Lamar Miller on your team. You throwing those guys out there this week?
Well, to be honest, with all the buys, as you said earlier, I think Fuller's got to be in your lineup. But for me, I have nobody on a buy on my team, actually. So, I did play somebody last night rather than playing him on Thursday night rather than playing him. So, because he plays on the side that he lines up on the side that Sherman lines up on for more than half of his snaps.
Right.
So you can't really, and you got Earl Thomas and Cam Chancellor and behind them. So, you can't really expect him to get behind them for a bomb, which is what he does,
Right.
But I do still like that offense. I like Lamar Miller. I like Deshaun. I don't think you could stop him. This is his biggest game for sure. He's got to prove that he's the real deal, and I think he's going to do it.
Wow. Well, I actually have a different opinion. I agree with Mike here. I don't think Deshaun Watson eclipses 15 fantasy points. I think that Houston offense is shut down. I actually expect a pretty one-sided game here. I expect Seattle to win this game 24-12, 24-10, something like that. I have no confidence in this Houston offense against Seattle. I really am very high on Seattle's defense this week, so we'll see what happens. All right, let's grab another matchup out of the big pumpkin guy. Big Halloween guys up here, huh?
What do we got?
No costumes, though. We tried. Maybe next year.
All right, Chargers, Pats.
All right, Chargers, Pats should be a great one. Patriots are 6.5-point favorites coming off a huge win at home to the Falcons, and now they stay at home against the Chargers. I think this is going to be a big QB matchup. They always push this on the media. You got Brady versus Rivers. Obviously, they're not playing each other. But I think it's going to be a great QB matchup. Kevin, what do you think about this game? You think it's going to be the Chargers, or do you think it's going to be the Pats?
It's going to be a closer game than it should be. The Chargers have a great defensive line. Joey Bosa, Ingram, great ends. They're going to get to Brady a lot. It's going to be a tight game going to the fourth quarter, I think. Then I think Philip Rivers is going to try to force some things, make a couple mistakes, maybe turn the ball over.
Sounds like Philip Rivers.
Yeah, and then Brady's going to drive down with the game. Typical. New England will win, definitely.
Okay. Pete, what do you think?
Oh, I disagree. I think Rivers has a day. The Patriots still they've looked better, but still 32nd ranked against the pass.
Right.
So you got to expect a day from Rivers. I like Keenan Allen big time in this matchup. There's no really those corners haven't been looking good at all, and I think he at least gets you 100 yards. And Hunter Henry's going to get in the end zone. I think it's going to be a shootout that we're not really expecting, but I think it's a high-scoring game. I like the Patriots too. I like every pass catcher. I like every running back. I like everybody in this game.
Pete likes
I really
everybody.
do. It's going to be a shootout, and if I own somebody on either one of these teams,
Do you?
I'm going to play him.
You got somebody in New England?
Well, I do have Gronk,
Yeah.
and actually, the Chargers are second against the tight end, but they have not faced Gronk yet, and you know what he can do.
You got to go with Gronk no
He's
matter
gonna
what.
drop 30.
Mike, what do you think about this game?
It's really all going to come down to is Melvin Gordon going to play? He has a foot issue. He's listed as questionable.
Okay.
Even if he does play, I think he's going to be limited because that's a foot issue. It's going to affect how he cuts, how he runs. It's just going to affect him all around. And if Melvin Gordon's not in the game, they're going to have to rely on just the passing game and Eckler.
Austin Eckler.
And I do not like
Remember that name, Austin
So,
Eckler.
If Melvin Gordon's
does
in
not
the
play.
game, it's going to be a high-scoring game.
New waiver pickup.
If he's not
Yeah.
in the game, it's going to be a blowout.
It's going to be Austin
It's going to be an
Eckler.
absolute blowout.
All right, real quick. We're going to go down the line. Pick a Patriots running back this week if you have to start one.
James White.
Kev?
I'm taking Deion Lewis.
I'm also taking Deion Lewis.
I'm going to take the sneaky pick and go Mike Gillislee. I think he gets in the end zone.
All right,
like that.
Pete.
That's-
I don't
he's
know
in the
about
doghouse.
that.
You get, if
Yeah,
anybody
he's in
scores
the doghouse.
on that team, they will be the highest scoring running back. Whichever one that scores will be the highest scoring running back on the Patriots, and I think it's going to be Gillislee.
Interesting. All right. Let's go with another one.
All right, let's go, baby.
Going down the line.
By the way, Gordon, his coach said that he is 90%. He's not 100%, but he's 90%, and I'm sure he'll be out there.
All right.
All right, here we go.
What do
I
we
hope
got?
so.
Oh, this is a good one. Again, Cowboys at Redskins.
Cowboys at Redskins. Should be a great game. Just reported Josh Norman is expected to play, so watch out for that Norman versus Des Bryant matchup. Should be fun. Just like all those commercials, we'll actually get to see it in person now. So Cowboys coming off a huge win against San Fran, obviously 40-10. And the Redskins coming off a loss to the Eagles on Monday night. So Kev, I know you're a big Dallas guy. You're rolling with Dak and the boys?
I do have Dak on my team. He's been great all year. I do think Kirk Cousins in this Redskins team is very, very underrated.
I agree.
Kirk Cousins is a great quarterback. It's going to be a great divisional matchup. It's going to go down to the wire, but at the end of the day, that offensive line and Zeke he's playing, it's just going to be too much Dak, too much Zeke. They're going to run the ball probably 25 times, and they're going to win the game.
All right. Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, Zeke for sure is going to have a great day this week. The thing with the Redskins is Kirk Cousins just can't seem to get a connection with any of his receivers. Last week they talked about how Josh Doxson started the game and Terrell Pryor did not. And they said that when they drafted Josh Doxson in the first round a couple years ago that they knew that he was going to be the guy. What were you thinking when you gave Terrell Pryor the big bucks this offseason?
Yeah.
Doesn't really make sense to me. I think it's just...
But he hasn't panned out. He really hasn't panned out for that team.
I feel like they're just not really giving him the opportunity. Terrell Pryor is the kind of guy you have to throw it up to him, let him fight for the ball, let him get his own opportunities. And I think they know that, and they're going to break him out very soon. Don't play him, by the way. Just if he's available, keep him on your bench, or I wouldn't even buy him low. But I don't think it's the end for Terrell Pryor. I don't think it's the end for any of the Redskins receivers. As a matter of fact, Jamison Crowder, he showed a lot of potential last year with his route running. He looked like one of the cleaner route runners in the league.
Right.
They haven't been getting him going. Josh Doxson, he has loads of talent. We saw him coming out of college that he was just going to be one of the more talented receivers coming out that we've seen in recent time. When I saw his rookie highlights, I thought a lot about Odell. He made a lot of spectacular catches, one-handers. It was a lot of fun to watch. He just hasn't shown anything, mostly because of injuries. Right. I think very soon we're going to start to see those receivers starting to get active. But if not, the Redskins are in trouble.
Okay, and Pete, what about that Redskins running game? Chris Thompson really having a breakout year, 7th-ranked running back in standard scoring. But then there's Rob Kelly there as well. So, what are you thinking about that issue back there?
Well, I am Rob Kelly owner, and it's been rough. I figured he'd be the starter. I figured he'd be at least even maybe a low-end RB2 going into the season.
Yeah.
But, he got hurt, and Chris Thompson has obviously emerged big time. And obviously Kirk loves him, but because he's getting all the receiving yards, and obviously the receivers are not. But I think if there's one game where Kelly can get it going, it's against Dallas, and I think he gets that touchdown that will make him relevant. But I don't expect a lot of yards. So if they get in close, expect Kelly to get the chances. And if he gets in there, that'll be great, and that'll be a good sign. Maybe a little sell him after he gets in there because, he hasn't been too good.
Right.
But going back to what Mike said about those receivers, they said they would be riding the hot hand between Doxson and Pryor. So I'm very excited to see who the hot hand will be. And I've never heard really ride the hot hand of a wide receiver, which is very weird.
It's interesting.
I've heard it for the running backs, but it doesn't really make sense to me. They're not using them correctly. It doesn't make sense, but I like Reed because he's going to be on the field and he's going to be the guy.
Right,
so
right.
Vernon
Okay.
Davis has been getting a lot of attention too. A lot of big catches.
Well, also Jordan Reed back now too.
yeah.
He's the guy now.
Jordan
Reed.
Davis.
Yeah,
if
he's
you
back.
play,
They're
if you had to
using
play
Davis as more of a
Davis,
receiver than any of their other receivers.
right? If you had to play Davis, you're hoping for like a 30-yard catch and like a
Yeah.
If I was looking for
25-yard
a
catch,
streaming,
and then that's
a
it.
streaming
basically.
tight end this week, I would look for Vernon Davis. He's been showing a lot of big plays and he's been getting a lot of yards.
He
I
won't
think
get
he's a
in
good
the
way
end
to look.
zone, but he
I don't
will put up
expect
the
him to get in
yards.
the end
Jordan
zone,
Reed
but
is that end
he's
zone
been,
guy.
yeah. But Vernon Davis has been getting you 60+ yards almost
Yeah,
every week.
Right.
Yeah, right.
All right, let's go with the next matchup. So who would you take this week, Redskins or Cowboys?
Obviously, I got to go with the boys.
Boys, I'm actually going with the Skins.
I do want to just add that there's supposed to be some brutal weather there.
So
In
maybe
Washington.
lean on
Right.
Zeke. Lean on Zeke.
Yeah, and,
No,
and Dez, I don't know, man. I really hope Norman's a little banged up.
Mike, who are you
Dez
taking?
Cowboys for sure.
Cowboys for sure. All right.
I can't pick the Redskins knowing that the receivers are struggling this hard. But if they get the receivers going, I could pretty much match them up with almost any team in the NFL.
All right, what do we got, Kev?
We got Raiders at Buffalo Bills.
All right, Raiders at Bills. Carr and the Raiders obviously coming off that big game against Kansas City. You know, that last second touchdown to Michael Crabtree. Awesome to watch. Probably the best game of the year thus far. Bills also coming off a pretty good win against the Bucs in the shootout. Now the Bills travel to Oakland to face them, okay? Carr had 30 fantasy points last week. Taylor had 20, using his feet a little bit. So what do we think this week between Carr and Tyrod Taylor? Who would you start?
It's a tough matchup, but I kind of want to lean towards Tyrod because
Okay.
yes, you have the opportunity for him to run in,
That's
run
right.
the ball a lot, run in for touchdowns. But I also like the newly acquired Deontay Thompson. He's a receiver
Okay.
that he actually has history with. He was back with him in 2012 on the Ravens, the same year that they won the Super Bowl. And they're both backups, so they spent a lot of time together. And we saw that last week. It was their first week together. Deontay Thompson had 4 catches for 100+ yards.
Right.
And I don't think that was a fluke. I think this is a special connection that we could start seeing a
Special
lot
connection?
of.
Is it the love connection, Mike?
It's the love
The
connection.
love connection. Deontay
The brotherly
Thompson.
love.
Brotherly love. All right, Mike. Interesting take there. Kev, what do you think between Amari Cooper and Michael Crabtree? Who would you start this week? You know, Cooper had that big week, but, you know, Crabtree's been the guy.
Crabtree's he's the red zone guy. Cooper's coming off a hot game. I got the AC/DC train. I'm on it. I think Derek Carr. I would take Derek Carr over Tyrod as well. To be honest, Marshawn Lynch is out.
Right.
I think this new guy, DeAndre Washington, is rook. I think he's going to be the starter from here on out. I think he's going to take this job. He's going to get that offense rolling, and
Okay.
the Raiders are going to go in there and they're going to win, I think.
All right, sweet. So out of those two backs, Pete, who would you take?
Washington
or Rashard?
right? In this particular matchup, I'm taking Rashard.
Right.
Because Buffalo is very good against the run, but they're not so good against the pass, which is why I would also take Carr and both of those receivers. Definitely Cooper and definitely Crabtree. Give me both of them.
Okay.
And even give me Jared Cook.
Wow, even Jared Cook.
You're on the
Yeah.
whole offense
But-
right now.
Talking about the
He
Bills,
likes
too.
everybody.
The Bills, you know, there's some good matchups this week. So you got to like the Bills against Oakland, who've been struggling too, as we just saw last Thursday. They've both struggled. So, I mean, you got to expect big games from both offenses.
Okay. Awesome. I agree. I think Carr is going to have a great day against that Buffalo Bills defense. All right. There you have it. There's some of our matchups looking ahead to Sunday. Check out our next video. We're going to go through some quick takes on some of the matchups, who to play in what situation, what player will beat out which player. I think it should be an interesting video. We'll go down the line, see what we like there. But that's it for us on this video. Make sure to check us out at Twitter, at FNTSY Philosophy, and give us a subscription on YouTube. And we'll see you next time.